Hey Army! Welcome back to the channel. If you're watching this video right now, chances are you already know that something massive is happening in the music world in 2026. And this is not just any ordinary concert. BTS is back, fully, all 7 members, on stage. And they are on their way to America. In this video, we are going to cover everything you need to know about the BTS World Tour Arang, specifically the America leg running from April all the way through September 2026. We're talking the complete schedule, every city they're hitting, a deep dive into Jimin's performances that have already set the world on fire, and everything you need to know about tickets. So make sure you're subscribed, hit that bell, and do not go anywhere. This one's going to be long, but I promise you every single second is worth it. Let's go? Before we get into the schedule and the concert details, it's really important that we understand why the BTS World Tour Arang 2026 is so extraordinary, and why the entire ARMY fandom has barely been able to breathe for the past several months. We all know BTS went through a long hiatus. Starting in late 2022, the members entered mandatory military service one by one, an obligation for all South Korean men. For nearly 4 years, ARMY waited. For years without a full 7-member concert. For years of patience. And now, they are back. All 7 members, RM, Jin, Suga, Jhope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook, completed their mandatory military service by mid-2025. And they didn't just come back quietly. They came back with everything they had. On March 20th, 2026, BTS released their 5th studio album titled Arang, 14 brand new tracks that the members themselves described as a love letter to ARMY after years of being apart. Then, on March 21st, Netflix dropped BTS The Comeback Live Arang, a concert recorded live from the historic Gwangwon Square in Seoul. And on March 27th, the documentary BTS The Return hit the streaming platform, showing the world how all 7 members prepared for their comeback after years away. The peak of it all, April 9th, 2026, the Arang World Tour officially launched in Goyang, South Korea, in front of tens of thousands of fans. Bloomberg had already predicted this back in October 2025, that BTS would be embarking on their largest world tour to date. And that prediction could not have been more accurate. In total, this tour spans more than 85 shows across 34 cities in 23 countries, running all the way through March 2027. This is not just a concert. This is a global cultural event. Now, let's zoom out and look at the big picture before we focus on America specifically. The Arang tour kicked off in South Korea, Goyang, then moved to Japan at the Tokyo Dome, before crossing the Pacific to North America. After the American run, the tour heads to Europe in June and July 2026, swings back to Korea for a special show in Busan, then Latin America in October, Southeast Asia, and finally Australia in early 2027. The stage itself uses a full 360-degree in-the-round concept, meaning BTS stands at the center, completely surrounded by the audience on all sides. There are no bad seats. Every single person gets the full experience. This is the first time any K-pop act has used this kind of stage setup for a full-scale stadium tour, and it immediately redefined the standard. Tickets? They sold out within hours when the pre-sale and general sale opened in January 2026. The demand was so overwhelming that even Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum personally appealed to South Korea's president to add more shows in her country, and BTS ended up adding 3 extra shows to the Latin American leg, announced just one day before the tour even began on April 8, 2026. This is not ordinary hype. This is a phenomenon. Alright, now we get to the part you've all been waiting for. The complete North America schedule. The North American leg is the longest stretch of the entire tour, running from late April all the way through September 2026. And the number of cities they're visiting this time around is unlike anything BTS has done before in America. This is BTS at their most coast to coast. They're most committed to reaching every corner of the country. It all begins in Tampa, Florida, at Raymond James Stadium on April 25th, 26th, and 28th, 2026. Tampa is the starting point, the city that gets the honor of being the first American stop on the Arang tour. 3 consecutive nights at one of Florida's most iconic venues. 3 chances for the East Coast and the South to witness this historic tour live. The fact that Tampa was chosen to open the American leg is itself a milestone, and Army in Florida will never forget it. From there, BTS moves to El Paso, Texas, for 2 nights on May 2nd and 3rd at Sun Bowl Stadium. This is one of the most historically significant stops of the entire American run. BTS becomes the first K-pop act to headline Sun Bowl Stadium, a true debut moment for one of Texas's most storied venues. El Paso may not be the biggest city on this list, but the Army spirit there is absolutely unmatched. Then it's 3 nights in the Bay Area, Stanford Stadium in Stanford, California, on May 16th, 17th, and 19th. 3 shows gives Northern California Army 3 opportunities to experience Arang live. Stanford Stadium has the capacity to hold the kind of crowd that BTS deserves, and California's Army community is one of the most passionate in the entire country. After that, we head to the City of Lights, Las Vegas, Nevada, at Allegiant Stadium on May 23rd, 24th, and 27th. Las Vegas, baby. Now, BTS has been to Vegas before, back in their Permission to Dance on Stage era, but this time, with the 360-degree Arang stage setup inside Allegiant Stadium, it is a completely different experience. The home of the Raiders will be absolutely transformed into a sea of purple for 3 incredible nights. And it's worth noting that additional dates were added in Vegas during the initial on-sale period because demand was so far beyond what anyone expected. At this point, BTS shifts to Europe for June and July before returning to America for the grand finale. And what a finale it is! 4 nights at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, California, on September 1st, 2nd, 5th, and 6th. For nights. For chances. SoFi Stadium is one of the most spectacular sports and entertainment venues in the entire United States, and BTS is using it to close out their historic North American run. The LA shows are already being talked about as some of the most anticipated concerts of the entire decade, and for very good reason. This is the farewell to America, and BTS is not going quietly. In total, North America gets more than 15 shows across 5 cities, and every single one of them is in a stadium, not an arena. This is a completely different scale from anything BTS has done before on American soil. Now, let's talk about someone very special, Jimin. For those who may be newer to the BTS world, Jimin, Park Jimin, is one of the most technically gifted performers in the entire group. He is one of the very few K-pop idols to have ever reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 with his solo single, Like Crazy, back in 2023. And before the Arang tour even began, he released another solo single called Serendipity 2 in December 2025, which immediately climbed global charts and reminded everyone exactly why Jimin's solo artistry is something extraordinary. But on the Arang World Tour, Jimin has truly cemented himself as one of the greatest live performers in the world right now. At the very first concert in Goyang, South Korea on April 9th, 2026, Jimin immediately captured every camera and every heart in the stadium. One of the most talked about moments of that opening night was his choreography with V during I Need You, 2 of BTS's closest friends bringing that emotionally charged routine to life in front of a sold-out stadium. And the reaction was absolutely electric. Army has called it one of the most beautiful moments in all of BTS concert history. As for Jimin's voice at Goyang, the internet went absolutely wild. Fans and netizens described it as sounding like he was pulling Spotify directly from his throat, meaning every note was so clean, so full, so perfectly produced that it almost didn't feel real coming from a live performance. But it was completely live, completely raw, and completely stunning. Then came Tokyo Dome on April 17th and 18th, and Jimin showed up with a new look, longer blonde hair than at Goyang, giving him an appearance that the fans and Korean media described as looking like a comic book protagonist. The visual impact alone was enough to crash social media, but it was the performances that truly set the world on fire. During Fire, even while breathing heavily from the intense choreography, Jimin filled the entire Tokyo Dome with explosive high notes that hit like a wall of sound. It was a demonstration of technical vocal ability and physical stamina that very few performers anywhere in the world could pull off. And during the surprise song, Crystal Snow, performed in Japanese, Jimin delivered what Korean media called a stardust tone vocal, receiving some of the loudest and most sustained cheering of the entire night from the Japanese audience. But perhaps the most genuinely moving moment of Jimin's Tokyo run was when he read out a handwritten letter, written in Japanese, to the fans he hadn't seen in 8 years. He shared that he was truly happy to be able to meet you all after such a long time, and expressed deep gratitude for being able to return to Tokyo Dome after 8 years, saying it was all because of the fans' unwavering loyalty. He even slipped in a small spoiler at the end of the letter, a classic Jimin move, making the moment feel both emotional and playful at the same time. So what can American Army expect from Jimin when the tour lands stateside? Based on everything we've seen from Goyang and Tokyo, you can expect a solo segment that almost certainly includes a medley featuring his Billboard Hot 100 #1 hit, Like Crazy, and his 2024 pop hit, Who. 2 tracks that highlight the full range of what Jimin can do as a solo artist. You can expect vocal moments that will genuinely make you hold your breath. You can expect choreography that looks effortless even when you know it is anything but. And most of all, you can expect those moments of pure, genuine connection with the audience. Because Jimin has always had the remarkable ability to make a stadium full of 70,000 people feel like he is performing directly for each one of them individually. There is also the element of surprise to consider. Every single night of the Arang tour includes 2 rotating surprise songs that change from show to show, meaning no 2 nights are ever exactly the same set list. If you are attending a show in Vegas or at SoFi Stadium, you might witness something that will never happen again. That is the magic of this tour, and Jimin is at the very heart of it. He said it himself at the Goyang opening show, speaking directly to the audience. It's been a long time since we've held a concert like this. We worked really hard on it, so I hope you enjoy it. Simple words. But for an army that waited 4 years, those words carry the weight of everything. Now let's talk about the concert experience itself. What you can actually expect if you're lucky enough to be there in person. Each Arang show features 23 songs in the main set list, plus 2 rotating surprise songs that change every night. The total runtime is approximately 2.5 hours, making it one of the longest K-pop stadium concerts ever staged. The show opens with Hooligan from the new Arang album, immediately establishing that this is going to be a high-energy, no-holds-barred experience from the very first note. The setlist then moves through different eras of BTS, from iconic tracks like Fire, Idol, Dynamite, Butter, and Permission to Dance, through deeper cuts from the Map of the Soul era, and all the way to fresh material from the Arang album. The concert closes with Into the Sun, the final track from the Arang album, carrying a message of togetherness and forward movement that feels tailor-made to close out a show of this scale. At the very end, all 7 members sit in a row along the edge of the circular stage, sharing their thoughts about the night and about being reunited with ARMY after so long. Then they walk off the stage while the instrumental continues playing, and the stadium erupts in fireworks. One of the most viral moments that has taken over every corner of social media since the tour began is the microcosmos moment, where 70,000 ARMY bombs light up in perfect synchronization across the entire stadium. For those who don't know, the ARMY bomb is BTS's official lightstick that can connect via Bluetooth and be controlled by the concert production team to create collective lighting effects. When 70,000 of those lights pulse together in unison, the visual result is something that truly defies description. It has been called one of the most visually stunning things happening in live music right now, and that is not an exaggeration. The 360-degree stage also means BTS doesn't just perform for the audience, they perform with the audience. They come down from the main stage, move along pathways that circle through the floor section, reach out to fans, make eye contact, interact in real time. At Goyang, RM performed parts of the show on a mobile open carriage because of a prior leg injury, and still managed to bring the energy of someone who had never felt a moment of pain in his life. That is the kind of commitment to ARMY that defines this group. Now, the question everyone keeps asking, what about tickets? The honest truth is that most tickets for the American shows have been sold out since January 2026, when the pre-sale and general sale opened. They went in hours. Las Vegas and Los Angeles in particular saw some of the most intense demand. But that doesn't mean all hope is lost, and there are several very real options still available. The first option is trusted resale platforms. Sites like StubHub and GameTime still have resale tickets available for most American dates. Prices vary widely depending on the show and the seat. Standard tickets start around $58 and can go well beyond $400 for premium sections. For the 4-night run at SoFi Stadium in LA, the chances of finding resale tickets are actually still fairly solid given the sheer number of shows. Just make sure you are only buying from trusted, verified platforms to protect yourself from scams. The second thing to watch is new date announcements. The Arang World Tour has already proven it will expand when demand calls for it. Tampa, Stanford, and Las Vegas all received additional dates during the initial on-sale period because the original shows sold out so fast. Big Hit Music has publicly confirmed that the current schedule is not final, and additional dates in various regions are still being considered. Stay connected through Weverse, BTS's official social media channels, and Ticketmaster to catch any new announcements the moment they drop. Third, live streaming. For those who cannot be there in person, select shows on the Arang World Tour are being broadcast via pay-per-view on Weverse, and certain shows are also being screened live in cinemas around the world. This is a real and genuinely exciting way to experience the concert from wherever you are, and the production quality of these streams has been exceptional. And fourth, BTS The City Arang. This is a parallel experience running alongside the Las Vegas shows from May 20th through May 31st, offering a range of BTS-themed activities, installations, pop-up events, and experiences throughout the city. Even if you don't have a concert ticket, being in Las Vegas during that window means being surrounded by ARMY energy and Arang culture. It's something worth considering even if you missed out on show tickets. One important tip: if you hold an official ARMY membership, Global, keep a very close eye on Weverse and Ticketmaster because membership holders receive priority access when new dates are announced. That membership has real, tangible value when this tour keeps expanding the way it has been. I want to take a moment to talk about something that goes a little deeper than schedules and ticket prices. The BTS World Tour Arang 2026 is not just the biggest music concert of the year. It is a reunion between 7 men who gave years of their lives in service to their country and millions of fans around the world who stayed loyal through every day of that wait. For nearly 4 years, ARMY moved through life without BTS concerts. People graduated school. People got married. People lost people they loved. People fought through their darkest moments. And through all of it, BTS's music, still alive in playlists and old albums and small live streams, was there. That connection never broke. It just waited. Now, when those 7 members stand together on a stage and sing Into the Sun, while 70,000 ARMY bombs light up the night, that is not just a show. That is proof that some of the most important things in life are worth waiting for. Jimin perhaps said it most perfectly when he spoke to the crowd at that very first Tokyo show after reading his handwritten letter. The quiet sincerity in his words, the 8 years of distance in his voice, the gratitude, all of it landing in a stadium that had been waiting just as long as he had. When BTS says they worked hard on this tour, they mean it in a way that goes beyond rehearsal hours and production budgets. They mean it in the way that people mean it when something cost them time and sacrifice, and then finally came together. When you sit in that stadium in Tampa, or El Paso, or Vegas, or LA, or when you watch the stream from wherever you are in the world, remember that you are not just attending a concert. You are part of one of the most significant moments in 21st century pop culture history. And that is not something that comes around very often. Alright ARMY, let's bring it all together in one place. Tour name, BTS World Tour Arang. Total shows, more than 85 performances across 34 cities in 23 countries. The North America leg runs from April through September 2026. The American schedule goes like this: Tampa, Florida at Raymond James Stadium on April 25th, 26th, and 28th. El Paso, Texas at Sun Bowl Stadium on May 2nd and 3rd. Stanford, California at Stanford Stadium on May 16th, 17th, and 19th. Las Vegas, Nevada at Allegiant Stadium on May 23rd, 24th, and 27th. And the grand finale, Los Angeles, California at SoFi Stadium on September 1st, 2nd, 5th, and 6th. The album is Arang, released March 20th, 2026, with 14 brand new tracks. The stage format is 360-degree in the round. Each show runs approximately 2.5 hours with 23 songs plus 2 rotating surprise songs every single night. Most tickets are sold out through official channels, but resale is available through StubHub and Game Time. Select shows are available as pay-per-view streams on Weverse. For Jimin specifically, he went viral at Goyang for his I Need You choreography with V, delivered some of the most breathtaking high notes of the entire tour at Tokyo Dome, moved Japanese army to tears with a handwritten letter read in Japanese, and is widely expected to deliver a solo segment in America featuring Like Crazy and Who. And that's everything, Army. Your complete guide to BTS World Tour Arang and the full America leg running from April to September 2026. I know so many of you are still searching for tickets, and some of you already have yours and can barely sleep from the excitement. Either way, hold on to this moment. BTS is back, and they came back bigger, more powerful, and more emotionally resonant than anyone could have imagined. If this video helped you, please hit that like button and share it with every ARMY you know. Let's get this information out there. Subscribe for all the latest updates because, trust me, this tour is still growing and there is so much more to come. Drop a comment below and tell me, which city are you going to? Tampa? Vegas? LA? Or are you watching from home on the stream? I genuinely want to know. Until the next one, Purple You Army. Purple Heart.